What's up guys, this is Sahil. So last time I did a quick review of the Corsair Carbide 3500X mid-tower cabinet and a lot of you asked me to do a build on that cabinet. Well, here I am. I've built the cabinet. I don't know, I love building PCs, but I kind of suck at cable management, or maybe I'm just lazy. But why don't you guys rate the build that I've done and just tell me, like, is it good? Is the cable management good? See, like, there's a little spots over there where the cables are exposed. But yeah, I think I've done a pretty decent job. And honestly, I don't really care much about cable management, because I'm not really into the aesthetics of it. I just like, it's all about performance. It's the same like when I go to buy a car, all I want is an AC, a good music system, and a good friggin' engine. I don't care about how it looks. I don't care about those extra things. So it's the same with PCs. So yeah, I'll talk about what all components have gone into this PC. And first, we will start with the motherboard. It's an ASRock B650 Pro RS. It's actually been a long time since I built a system on an ASRock motherboard. So yeah, that was fun. This motherboard, it has most of the features you need. Like, it has support for Gen 5 NVMe SSDs. It gives you a lot of USB 3.2 Gen 2 ports, but it does not have Wi-Fi. Because I have no Wi-Fi, I'm using this trusty little TP-Link Wi-Fi adapter. This thing costs like, I don't know, 1400, 1500 bucks. Yeah, but it gives decent speeds. One thing about this motherboard, this is not a luxury motherboard. Like, you won't get the luxury features, but you'll get like most of the performance oriented features. The CPU is the Ryzen 7 9700X. Yeah, I've spoken a lot about the CPU on Ill Gaming. So if you want like a full review and the comparisons and everything, just head over to Ill Gaming. Yeah, I was really excited to build on this CPU, and it's been fun. I've put an air cooler on this. So this is a very interesting brand, by the way. It's an Indian brand. It's the Volted V600. And so this is kind of equivalent to the Noctua DH15, which I think is Noctua's most famous air cooler. This has the same specifications. The fan specifications are a little different, like this fan RPM and everything, but otherwise the number of nickel plates, the size, the width, it's all the same. And the performance is also very similar to the Noctua DH15. I will be doing a liquid cool build on this cabinet too. The cooler for that I'll be using will be I'm like super excited to build on this. This is Corsair's top of the line 360mm AIO. And yeah, just like really excited to see how this works out with the 9700X. Next component is actually the power supply unit. It's the Antec Neo Eco. It's a gold-rated power supply unit. It's a fully modular power supply unit. It has most things you need. It has the hybrid mode where it works under low load, the fan won't spin. So that's really cool if you love silent operation. The next component I used was, the RAM. Yep, Kingston Fury Renegade DDR5 RAM. I think in most of the DDR5 systems I've built, 90% of the times I always go to the Kingston Fury RAMs. They work great. I have the RAM kits which go up to 6000 megahertz. I have the RAM kits that go up to 7200 megahertz. So yeah, good speeds, good performance. You can't really go wrong with them. The GPU, it's a Gigabyte RX 7700 XT. Most of you already know about this GPU. There's nothing really that nobody knows. Okay, for the mouse, I've used the MX Master 3 by Logitech here. We've done a full review of the MX Master 3S, which is more recent and little more expensive than this. Even this mouse is pretty expensive, but you know what? I will recommend the MX Master 3 over the MX Master 3S. It's the same mouse. There's no difference. The only difference is in the Master 3S, the S probably stands for silent because you don't get the clicky buttons. You get like silent buttons. So if you're really into that silent thing, go for that. But otherwise, yeah, good enough. And finally, the keyboard. Yep, it's the trusty old TVS Gold mechanical keyboard. We used to swear by this keyboard. This was like the best mechanical keyboard in the market. But I think, because of all those cheap Chinese brands coming in, they've just really, like, the cost cutting is massive on this. And now the keyboard is just like, it's really bad. Like, I wouldn't recommend this keyboard anymore. I have recommended this keyboard like in the past many times as like the best, cheapest mechanical keyboard, but not anymore. It's actually cheap now. So it's not like the old days where they actually built like proper nice keyboards. But okay. So yeah, going into the build, something different I noticed when building on this cabinet, the Corsair Carbide 3500X. I actually really enjoyed building on this, but there are a couple of differences, right? So if you see this, the power supply unit, like the space for that, it's blocked from here, like so that's different from other cases. So the cables actually have to go from the back side, because this cabinet is actually designed for these new types of power supply units by Corsair, which have the outlets on the right side of the power supply unit. So if you really want a clean build and use those kind of power supply units, then then this cabinet is actually very good. The other thing I really liked about this cabinet, so first of all, it's that infinity pool kind of vibe, because there's no pillar over here. So you get that infinity pool kind of a look, which looks great, which looks really classy, and the whole like see-through, which I spoke about in my last video. And then building on this now, because you don't have a pillar over here, just the space and comfort you have in building on this cabinet is great. Okay, I actually missed out the most important, well, not the most important, but really important component. What SSD am I using? It's the Corsair MP700 Pro. This is actually one of the fastest mainstream NVMe SSDs out there right now, and this is a Gen 5 SSD. And this motherboard, it's a pretty basic motherboard, but it does support Gen 5 SSDs. Now, the thing about Gen 5 SSDs, we've done a full review of this on ILGaming, and if you see the performance difference between Gen 4 SSDs, NVMe SSDs, and Gen 5, it's massive. Like, these things can go as high as 12,000 megabytes per second. I achieved 11,700. And in the previous gen, like the best drives, say the Western Digital SN850X, you get something like 6,700 megabytes per second. So that's almost double the performance. In file transfer, you'll be getting almost double the performance boost. When it comes to real world performance, like say Windows boot up time or game loading times, there's still a 20% upside in the performance. Gen on gen, actually 20% is a great benefit. Okay, we've seen NVIDIA with the RTX 5000 series, like 5 to 10% difference on like the 5800's best day. Intel has actually gone back, as we know, with the Arrow Lake CPUs. So actually upgrading to a Gen 5 NVMe SSD like the MP700 Pro is a good upgrade, like if you want to increase the speeds of your workflow and the way your system works. So yeah. Now, you know what, actually I haven't done this test before. I thought I'll do it live in front of camera. So what I'm going to do, so over here, this is Intel Core Ultra 9 285K, the fastest Intel mainstream CPU out there. So we're going to see how fast Windows boots up and how fast we reach the login screen from a cold start. So first I'll switch this off. Okay. Actually, while this shuts down, I've noticed that AMD systems take a longer time to shut down than Windows systems. As I said, I'm too lazy. So I actually cloned my Windows drive from this and just like put it into this, didn't like install Windows, and it booted up like just perfectly with all of my programs and my apps and all the games. And then I just uninstalled all the Intel and NVIDIA stuff, and I installed the AMD and the chipset drivers. So that was really cool. The cloning thing, cloning a Windows boot drive onto a new PC, that's pretty cool. It just like saved me so many hours. But okay, both the systems are off. I'm going to switch them on at the same time, and we'll see which PC reaches the login screen the first. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay. So, okay. We've seen the ASRock logo before the Gigabyte Aorus logo over here. And I think the AMD is going pretty strong. In fact, this is not even AMD's fastest CPU right now. Okay, the Intel actually won there. The Intel won. Yes, the Intel booted up faster. And what's interesting is that this thing does not even have a Gen 5 SSD. It does have a really good Gen 4 SSD, but it doesn't have a Gen 5 SSD. But the Intel still beat the AMD. So that's interesting. I did not expect this. Actually, I thought because of the Gen 5 SSD, this will boot faster. But you know what? I don't know, maybe it's because this Intel CPU is like because of its many more cores, it's just able to boot up faster. But when I did the Windows startup test in a Gen 5 versus Gen 4 drive on this PC, there was a 20% difference, and you can check them out on ILGaming. So yeah, that's my build with the 3500X. I'll be doing more builds. I'll also be doing a build for the Ryzen 9900. Really excited about that. Sahil out.